Well, we're going to go ahead and get started. This is the second open forum to discuss the current budget reduction strategies at UW-Tacoma. And it's a joint forum that is sponsored between ASUWT and the Division of Student Affairs. And what we're going to use as a basis for our discussion is the presentation that our administrative and finance team used on January the 13th that was part of our campus discussion. So what we're going to do is go down through the presentation, and then I'm going to turn it over to your student body president, Tommy Bauer, and to your vice president, Cruz. And after Cruz and Tommy have their conversation or thoughts, I guess they would turn it back over to me, and we'll close this presentation today. By the way, I'm Cedric Howard, Dr. Cedric Howard, the Associate Vice Chancellor of Student Affairs here at UW-Tacoma. So we're going to go ahead and get started. If you look at the presentation, I want to draw your attention to the governor's proposed budget, which was released on December the 18th of 2008. And even though UW may be modeling budget reductions which may go 10, 12, 15%, the University of Washington-Tacoma have a slightly different process in which, because of the effect that it's going to have on us, which is not as high, and I would kind of get into those details a little bit later. Pretty much, according to the governor's proposal, which is a starting point for discussions down in Olympia, we will have to reduce our 09 through 11 biannual budget by $7.33 million. Also in her budget, she has incorporated a 7% tuition increase, and just to let you know, how's that in relations to previous increases in tuition? It's pretty much been 7% for the last several years. But also a part of that, there's no additional funding for enrollment. There's no additional funding for salary increases at any level, whether faculty or staff. And there's also funding as part of the capital budget for our Phase 3 Joy Building. Just to let you know, really the Joy Building of Phase 3 has two components. There was the Joy Building, and there was also a proposed new faculty library expansion component called the Jefferson Building. However, in the governor's budget, we just received funding for the Joy Building component, and or at least she's recommending that we receive pre-design funding for Phase 4, which would be the next phase of growth for our institution. But as I mentioned before, the governor's proposed budget is a starting point for discussion. No budgets will be addressed until, or budget issues will be addressed until the Senate and the House and the governor come to some resolution as it relates to the budget. We're very fortunate enough that today that we also have representation from the administration, and Dr. Beth Rushing will have some comments as she talked about very briefly the academic affairs reduction strategies, and kind of give you an overview, since we're going to since you'll be viewing this via the web, so you kind of get an overview of how faculty will be affected, classroom sizes will be affected, and things of that sort. As we go to our next slide, one of the things I would like for you to know as a part of this process is all of our discussions to this point have really just focused on strategies. We haven't made any firm decisions. We're just dealing with strategies to get us to a point that we can deal with reductions once they occur. And with the current slide that you're looking at as it relates to external influences, we really look at two strategies. The first strategy really is a worst-case scenario. For instance, in March, if the budget forecast comes back and there's a further